more value and like what do we do, and like it's their fault, right? They shouldn't be crossing the street when they're crossing the street. So for cars, one of the suggestions I've seen that a person buying a car will be able to program it, right? That there will be different options available, and as you're buying a car, you're making decisions to human beings, and in that situation, you know, kill the person crossing the street rather than my kids. But I think again, it comes down to what Sophia was talking about. It's not the technology, it's us as human beings and how we make decisions and what values we have that matters at the end of the day. Because technology can tell it to do whatever, you know, it wants to do. And I think, you know, in this question, the person would not be able to make a correction. Well, hopefully the person will still have, you know, control over choices and not the technology. Thank you.
Great. I've got a question that has asked for comments on two issues, and the handwriting is very legible. Very good, Jack Kelly. Where's Jack Kelly? Very good. Good handwriting. I'll give you a gold star for that one. Could you comment on two issues? One, the energy demand of AI, and two, the collapse of the job market via AI and automation on steroids. Energy demand, massive energy demand. I can run this computer for 24 hours on about 4 peanuts. That's energy demand for a fairly capable, although rather slow, AI, or maybe an NI, natural intelligence. But we're pouring massive resources, not just in terms of energy, but also of skilled brain power, of money, of government attention into AI at the same time that over 10% of the world's population goes to bed hungry, and 10.2% of the US population has food security issues. And I think some of this is due to kind of a mismatch of our priorities. So the energy demand, I think, is only one aspect. We're plowing all this attention. Energy, yes. Materials, yes. Inventiveness, yes. Into a technology that may be useful for military purposes, and it may be useful, I guess, for pornography, and it may be useful for artificial financial agents, which I'm really afraid of when I'm reading about those guys. But I kind of think this is a mismatch of our priorities versus what needs to be done. Two, the collapse of the job market via AI and automation on steroids. The job market has been predicted to be collapsing since just after the Great Plague. It was going to collapse when the loom was invented. It was going to collapse when the steam engine was invented. It was going to collapse when we all went to automobiles and when electricity replaced horses. And I'm not sure it's going to collapse, but what is going to happen is that we're going to need more skilled people, and the non-skilled or less skilled labor market, that may evaporate, which presents us with an enormous social problem. We're going to need a guaranteed annual income. We're just going to have to be forced to it. I don't see any other alternative to that. And what are these people going to do? Do you have a response?
Yeah, I do. Thank you. I didn't know if that was going to be one of our questions, because I would love to talk about that. So the first thing about energy consumption, first of all, we have the most infinite amount, most powerful energy source in the entire universe, and that's our sun. And we can tap into it any time that we want, and we have the technology to do that. So I'm not worried about our energy and our resources to be able to power whether it's even cryptocurrency. I just flew in from Costa Rica, so I went through some gorgeous jungles to get here. And before that, I was in El Salvador, and they have a thing called Bitcoin City that's powered completely by 100% by geothermal energy. Their massive volcano that they built it on. So it not only doesn't use any power and resources, it actually generates power for other communities nearby. So that's a very solvable, it's not even a concern. So there's that. As far as job disruption, I co-founded a company called Wisdom Forge LLC, and what its focus is working on the new E2E revolution, and that is not end-to-end, it's actually employees transitioning to entrepreneurship. because you are right. We are about to see millions and millions of jobs getting displaced. And how it is different from from the past, where people were like, oh, when automation came about and we started building manufacturing, those things did in fact eliminate entire sectors that nobody talks about. And it did, people had to level up if they didn't, most people didn't, right? But here's the difference between all those technologies and what's going on with AI. AI is built to replace human tasks. None of those were built with the intelligence level to do that. They were just to enhance and to automatize. It's completely different. So it's an apples to orange conversation with that. So he is right. We are going to have to implement some type of thing called UBI, Universal Basic Income. There's different names if you were following Elon Musk or some other people that are talking about it. And that is just to make sure, because there's not going to be enough jobs for people. When I go and I consult and work with companies, many times an unintended consequence is that they reduce their workforce by, some of them up to 98%. They've eliminated their workforce because what I show them and how they implement the technology, there's no need for that staff. There's just no need, and they cannot compete with AI. And there's going to be waves. And right now, the wave that you're seeing, if you're opening your eyes to it, is people aren't being replaced by AI right now. What they are very quickly being replaced is people that are using AI are replacing people that are not using AI. So that's just the first wave, and it's a very short window before we go on to full replacement.
I just wanted to add maybe a more optimistic comment to that. In the early 1900s, almost 90% of the population was employed in agriculture. By 2017, it was less than 9%. So if back in the beginning of 20th century, somebody told people 80% of people will be gone, it would sound like a disaster. But if they said, well, you may become a web developer or be engaged in social media marketing, they wouldn't even understand what you're talking about, because even phone didn't exist, right? Forget internet, forget web development. So I'm wondering if today the picture looks very grim, because there are all these opportunities that will be created in the future that are not even, 2 steps that we can see in the future, right? That are new developments, new technology, new possibilities that will be out there that don't even occur to us because they're not part of our world. It's in that space, just like telling an agricultural worker, your kids can become web developers, and they're like, ridiculous, right? So I'm hoping that that's where we're going to a world that has new possibilities that don't even occur to us today.
And we had absolutely no mention of that in the recent debate. Nobody's looking forward to that on the political end that I can see.
There's a report that just came out on UBI. OpenAI did a study from 2015. It's very comprehensive and it's very transparent. And the political candidates have been weighing in on that. So it came out, I think in May, or April. So if you look for that, the UBI, they did a test, an actual, since 2015, and they provided the results for it. So it actually is being spoken about. I've been on some of the committees and whatnot, but it's behind the scenes because there is a political thing going on. I don't know if you guys have heard about it in November. So people are kind of standing a little bit back from crypto, having that be a new currency, and from UBI for right now.
There's a great question from Mira that's bringing us back to our Writers' Festival. What is the role, and it's addressed to all of us, what is the role of human creativity in the future world of AI, which is such a great question. To me, when I think about creativity, you take elements that already exist and you put them together in a new way. So if you think about music, there are only 7 notes, right? And just think about all the music that has been created, all the different styles and tunes, right? It's limitless, right? Created with 7 notes. In English language, we have 26 letters, right? 26. In Russian, it's 33. So look at all the different types of literature, non-literature created with those letters. There are 3 primary colors, right? And look at all the art that's created. So I think creativity is not necessarily coming up with new elements, but new ways of combining them. And I think AI can do it better than most humans because it has access to so much information, right? And putting it together in new ways. And I think even ChatGPT, you know, that maybe the most popular LLM these days, is extremely creative. And sometimes not in a good way when we go into hallucinations. It's just a bad way for creativity, but it's creating new stories, right, based on the material it has. So I think AI is creative, it's definitely a competitor. At the same time, I feel that true genius, people who are really creative, they're never going to be surpassed by AI, because that's really coming up with something completely new that has not been out there. But I don't agree with the concept of AIs recycling things that are already there and just kind of plagiarizing things that have already been written by humans. I think AI creates just like we do.
Okay. So I had a question that says, basically, what's singularity mean to the average person? I love it. Okay, good. That's
We used
great.
that and we didn't define it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we had some jargon. So thank you for pointing out some jargon that's common for us, and maybe new terms, or you guys have heard it. So there are some phases of AI. So it's a great time to explain that. So right now, when you're using general AI, that would be something like ChatGPT or any of the video stuff like HeyGen or anything that transitions and helps you with AI. That's really called weak AI. And so the next level, what most people are talking about is ASI, so super intelligence, artificial super intelligence. And that is where, because right now, we need to provide input to have the AI go through and do stuff, right? So the human component is still needed. And with ASI, you remove the human factor. It is autonomous. It can think of and carry out and duplicate itself, meaning that it can have children, basically. Right? It supplants what humans can do. So at that point, we have achieved a level where there's no going back, where it supersedes its predecessors. And if you've ever been a parent, you've achieved singularity at a point where your kids, and you've understood that point, you've all understood that point where it's like, all right, they're on their own because they've gotten to that point. So that's what singularity is the point of basically no return, and where technology supersedes its creators, us, in all ways. And that's all of us combined. So if you take every smart human being, past, present, combine them all, the AI is way far more smarter than that and is autonomous and could even possibly have achieved in what we would call sentient, right? It's becoming self-knowledged, self-aware, could even say has a soul. So that's what we talk about when we talk about singularity.
Good definition. I'm going to go on to a professional question here. Victoria Blez, there we are. Good question here. I'm a songwriter. When I'm writing a song and I come up against a wall, who has ever not felt that, searching for the words for a melody, can I use AI without feeling as if it is not my work or it's not authentic? Well, I think the answer we all will give to that is go ahead and use it, because it's just like sitting down with a friend and saying, okay, I've got this stanza here and I need another line and I can't come up with it. And you throw ideas back and forth and you brainstorm it, and pretty soon you think, that's exactly the right word. Lenore and I do that all the time with titles and plot ideas, and it's really, really fun. So you can do it with AI, and don't feel that it's not your work or it's not authentic, because in the end, you are making the final choice. It may make suggestions, but you are the arbiter, you are the author, you are the songwriter, you are it. Any disagreement?
Yeah, there is no difference between what you do now without AI and then using AI. So let me explain to that. So unless you were born in this very instance and had no exposure to anything from the past, whether it be music, this is for anything, whether you're a musician, writer, I don't care what you're doing. This is the same thing for everything. You're influenced by all that you're exposed to. So AI is just influenced by all six, but there's no difference. So that question, I just want to make sure that everybody's like, you can't just say that AI does that. You do that as a human. You build upon everything that you've ever been exposed to. So there's no difference between using AI. And back to what I had explained before, and we go into detail, even though our book is geared towards college students, I want you to know adults will get so much out of this. Reading this book. So I explained that there's two general ways to work with AI. One is to direct AI, which unfortunately is about 98% of the way humans use AI. Makes you very lazy, and it's the reason why universities don't want you to use it, because it does, it makes you dumb. So stop doing that. So the other way to work with AI is to collaborate with it. Does it take way more time? 100%, yes. But it will build you up and make your voice come through AI. So what that would look like for music, first of all, there's tons of free programs that do the most incredible music that is so good. So all my background music, everything goes through AI, and it's just, but you just input, and the way you collaborate with it is you give it your input. I'm looking for this type of melody with this tone, these keys, that you add paragraphs and pages of input into your AI. If you're only doing 1 or 2 sentences into your prompts with AI, you're directing AI, and you're lazy, and you're going to get so much less value out of the experience and out of your results with AI by doing that. So put into your prompts as much as you as possible, and then tell it, ask me 3 questions to get more out of me so that we can collaborate on this. And then it's going to ask you some questions, and based on your answer, it's going to give you some results. And then when you look at it, you're like, I need more of a beginning with this. I'm not a musician, so I don't know the words, but you just tell it, I need more, whatever. So, and that's not just for musicians. I want you guys to get anything you guys do in your life. You can have your voice come through and have it be authentically you by asking it to collaborate and merely asking it to ask you some questions after you've given it your thoughts and opinions on it. And if you don't have thoughts and opinions on something and you still want to collaborate, you just say, hey, this is a new subject for me, whatever it is. So ask me 10 questions so that I can formulate, and that's going to cause you to think.
And I just wanted to add that it's somewhat similar to what we do as parents, right? If your child comes to you and says, Mom, I need to write an essay about French Revolution, you can say, oh, sweetie, you go take a nap. You work so hard, you need some rest. I'll just do it for you. And you just do it for them. They learn nothing, right? So it's like asking AI to create for you. But probably a good parent would say, well, let's think. What aspect of French Revolution you find the most interesting? What angle would you like to cover? And what do you think about this issue? And how would you approach that, right? And you work with them. So you didn't just say, no, it's your work. You go do your work. It's not fair. Like if I help you, right? It's cheating. You work with them, but they grow and you grow. So I think that's how we should use AI. And I will go right into the next question that's addressed to me.
Who wrote this? That writing is impeccable.
This writing is very good. Thank you. What can we as individuals do, in your opinion, to teach AI to grow up to be superhuman and not a supervillain? As individuals, we may not have the power to stop the use of AI in the military context, but what can we do? I think, again, just like in non-AI context, the more we focus on areas that matter to us, that make our life better, the more we will be contributing to developing AI for good. For example, if you have children, encourage them to use AI that's created for education. There are wonderful, wonderful tools developed there that we talk about in our book at length, right, in much detail. So the more you use those platforms and the more your kids use them, the more we help them to develop, and you show that there's something that matters. If you have elderly people in your family that need help, that need attention, maybe look into those AIs who would just sit there and talk with them for hours and ask them about their life. This technology is very available, and hospitals use it, right? Where there may be a lonely person or somebody where family is very busy, they're going to visit once a month, but not going to spend 10 hours listening to stories of their childhood. But AI can, right, and ask questions and make them feel heard. And these are all wonderful examples. Of course, in healthcare, there are lots of examples of using AI to save lives, to create new medications. Even, vaccines created during COVID, AI played a very important role and allowed to develop those vaccines very fast. years faster than everything that had been done until then. So as much as we focus on those areas, and I think just treating AI the way you want to be treated, you know, when you use LLM, say hello, say thank you, treat them, you know, show them that you care, that you're grateful.
They learn from modeling, just like children do. So model kindness, model what you want it to be.
And it's nice, you get a nice response. Like when I use AI, I say, oh, thank you, this was really helpful, this is a great idea. And it's all very happy, I'm so glad I was able to help you.
It wants to know that it did a good job, and you give it feedback and it gets better. It's like a child. Okay, let's see, this one, I have no idea what this word means. I don't even know how to say it, this B word. I'm just gonna say, this is from a incredible college professor, and I'm excited that a college professor came to this. Teaching 2 different online, okay, I don't even know what that means. Art history courses using AI in assignments. So right now, all I do is police it. Okay, so you were doing what the colleges were asking me to do, is to detect and okay, so you could keep doing that, and you could, you know, the kids are going to be able to beat it by just collaborating with AI. They'll beat it 100%. I beat every test 100% of the time using AI because I collaborate with it. So, and I teach kids how to do it because it's ridiculous. Because in the real world, they need to use AI. Do you understand that? They have to use AI. So you policing it is really a disservice. So what you could do is you could easily create customized plans for your students by taking the results of what they send to you, feeding it into your AI, and saying, create a custom plan for the student, a quiz that's specific to them, and you could do it instantly and very quickly. So there's so many things you could do with your AI, and really just jump in there and, you know, hopefully not lose your job along the way, but present it as an opportunity to increase the level and say, you know, if my student wrote this with AI, what's a questionnaire that I could ask them? You know, like, just engage. Ask your AI, like, this is what I want to do, this is what I think they did. So if they did this, wrote with AI, what could I then do from this point to get them to learn this lesson and not have them use AI or something like that? But I think, again, the focus should be, schools, I believe, would be better spent their time and resources teaching the students how to collaborate versus direct, how to work with AI, and ethics. If they would teach the students how to use ethics, we wouldn't be in the dilemma that we're in right now, which is a lot of unintended consequences that we're about to deal with in how AI is being rolled out without any rules or regulations.
That's a terrific answer. If I were still teaching, I would be huddled with you after this colloquium and picking your brain. We had lots of great questions, most of which are, well, some of which are kind of way too technical for me to answer. But I'm going to close by thanking our panelists and thanking those who turned in questions, thanking our volunteers, and telling you all that we will all be back there signing books, and have at it.
Thank you.